Darkness. What is darkness? What is the darkness that we are talking about when we speak of dark academia? I think that the answer is actually twofold. Welcome to Strip Coverlet, where we squeeze the bigger picture out of literature. I'm Adrian Ford, and we will be discussing a poem that will appear in two separate playlists here on the channel. Number one being the poetry discussion playlist, 800 videos strong, and number two will be the Dark Academia playlist, a playlist dedicated to the subject of dark academia. The poem in question today is "The Habit of Perfection" by Gerard Manley Hopkins, and it reads as such. Elected silence, sing to me, and beat upon my horled ear, pipe to me, pasture still, and be the music that I care to hear. Shape nothing, lips, be lovely dumb. It is the shut, the curfew sent, from there where all surrenders come, which only make you eloquent. Be shelled eyes with double dark, and find the uncreated light. This ruck and reel which you remark coils, keeps, and teases, simple, light. Palate, the hutch of tasty lust, desire not to be rinsed with wine. The can must be so sweet, the crust so fresh that come in fasts, divine. Nostrils, our careless breath that spend upon the stir and keep of pride. What relish shall the censer send along the sanctuary side? O feel of primrose hands, O feet that want the yield of plushy sward, but you shall walk the golden street, and you unhouse the house the Lord. And poverty, be thou the bride, and now the marriage feast begun, and lily-colored clothes provide your spouse not labored at nor spun. It has been my contention that the darkness that is discussed in dark academia is twofold. It is darkness of subject matter, and we've had plenty of that in this playlist, death and the untimely removal from existence, but also the darkness from dark academia is going dark, a retreat, a seclusion, an isolation. And this poem is about shutting off the senses, turning them off and being neglectful to them, creating a world, right? So we go back up here. If I can ever get there. Elected silence, creating that distance. The music that I care to hear. This is about making a space for the self, making a space for the creativity of the soul, making a space for what it is to be born anew. We also have be shelled eyes with double dark, and find the uncreated light. Find the uncreated light. What a phrase in and of itself. Find the uncreated light, the light that is not there from creation, the light that is not there to be observed, but make it, find it. Bring to me these senses that I need when I need. I don't need everything all the time. Shape nothing, lips, be lovely dumb. Do not speak. And then we have palate, the hutch of tasty lust. Desire not to taste things. This is certainly a type of stoicism, but it is also the seclusion of going dark, of making the self again. This poem is about the isolation that is brought completely to the self. I think that the isolation of dark academia can be hoist upon you. I think that we talk about the two types of dark academic, the one that is going dark to emerge again, reborn, and the dark academic that is thrown into isolation, never to emerge, thrown into isolation and becoming the mad scientist, not the individual reborn. I think that oftentimes the person who has darkness hoist upon them does not reemerge. I think that is oftentimes where the mad scientist is born, where the person who is lost to creation, to the creative act, is born. That is where the lost and wayward soul comes to bear. But the title of the poem might be seen as nonsensical after reading it. The habit of perfection, in a poem about isolation and depriving oneself of the senses. This says to me that isolation is what is seen as perfection. Is isolation perfection? Well, we have a bit of an answer from another poet who will not appear in this playlist, Charles Bukowski. I do not consider Charles Bukowski to be dark academic. I do not consider Bukowski's poetry to be particularly dark. I think that that might come as a surprise to anyone who is familiar with his work. But I think that if you delve into his words, he is largely a hopeful writer. I do not consider Bukowski. Bukowski is one of my favorites, right? I've got a whole playlist on the channel for Charles Bukowski poems themselves, over 100 videos, I believe. And Bukowski's poetry is not academic in that while he has poems that would fall into the description of being dark, and he has poems that would fall into the practice of self-imposed isolation, largely that's what Bukowski is, but I do not consider him academic in the sense that I think that the academic part is contemplative, which largely in Bukowski we do not get the act of contemplation. We get the aftermath of contemplation, or we get the act of going into contemplation. We get the things which may cause contemplation. I also don't consider his diction to be academic in the most part. That probably doesn't come as a surprise. But he wrote a poem called Go All the Way, which reads as such: if you're going to try, go all the way. Otherwise, don't even start. If you're going to try, go all the way. This could mean losing girlfriends, wives, relatives, jobs, and maybe even your mind. It could mean not eating for 3 or 4 days. It could mean freezing on a park bench. It could mean jail. It could mean derision, mockery, isolation. Isolation is the gift. All the others are a test of your endurance, of how much you really want to do it. And you'll do it, despite rejection and the worst odds. And it will be better than anything you can imagine. If you're going to try, go all the way. There is no other feeling like that. You will be alone with the gods, and the nights will flame with fire. Do it. Do it. Do it. All the way. You will ride life straight to perfect laughter. It's the only good fight there is. I think that in this poem, the phrase isolation is the gift is reminiscent of what we get in The Habit of Perfection by Hopkins. And I think if you are going to embark on the path of dark academia, you have to at least try to make the decision as to whether or not this dark period, this dark phase, this dark time is temporary or is it permanent. And I think from Hopkins, we have the idea that it should be temporary because it is a habit, the habit of perfection, not the act of isolation. The habit of perfection, time and time again, we must retreat to this isolation. That is all I have for this poetry discussion. If you like or appreciate what it is that I do here, hitting the like button really does help me out, as it tells YouTube to share this with other literature lovers. If you find yourself here by chance but not design, literature is the only thing I talk about. There are 2 playlists and a video on your screen right now that YouTube thinks you might enjoy. And as always, I hope to have you back for the next one.